Life and poker are basically the same game. Hear me out. Players, in this case you, put their money down and gamble on winning the jackpot, or whatever the prize is. There's a combination of chance and talent at play, but it all boils down to how much you're willing to gamble. Life is really like a game. The only difference is that you don't get to choose whether or not you want to play it. In reality, I consider life and risk to be synonymous. What matters most are the threats you must consciously seek out and incorporate into your life. They will cause you pain if anything goes wrong, which is why most people avoid them. When things go well, though, they make life worthwhile. Here are some risks you absolutely have to be comfortable taking in your life. 15. Try out a new fitness class. Let's start out nice and easy. This is if you already work out. Try yoga if you're used to spinning. Try spinning if you're used to yoga. Try the treadmill if you're used to whatever other workout you've made routine. If you've tried everything, try something a little different, like aerial yoga or underwater spinning. I'm not entirely sure what these look like, but I know I'm definitely trying them now. Why? Because why not? 14. Create a work of art to hang on your wall. Have you been trying to fill a large blank space on your wall with artwork, but can't seem to find the right piece? Make a piece of art for yourself. It might not work out, but you could end up with something fantastic for a fraction of the cost of hiring a specialist. 13. Watch a show or film that you ordinarily avoid. You've always been a fan of action movies, and while you may love all the blood and fistfights, don't you ever wonder if you're missing out on something? If you never watch documentaries or even fantasy shows, which is debatable, try one of these tonight. Everyone enjoys a good laugh, so do check out some comedies and sitcoms too. You'll probably be surprised by what you like, and maybe even inspired to try new things in the future. What's the worst that can happen? You don't like it, but at the very least, you know for sure now. 12. Caring about someone else. If you've ever had the displeasure of going through a bad breakup or had a relationship end, you understand how heartbreaking it can be to care for someone else. However, this does not prevent you from thinking for anyone else. Allowing another person to become attached to you and thinking deeply for them can be frightening. It would be incredibly easy for them to betray your faith and cause you harm. However, the benefit of allowing someone to get close to you is that you get to know each other better, and your relationship becomes stronger. That can be a wonderful sensation. 11. Trying new things and learning new things. When you try anything different, there's always a risk involved. Starting a new activity, like rock climbing or surfing, can be intimidating at first, but overcoming the fear is a big part of the fun. The same can be said for major life changes. You must simply hop in and do it if you want to go to graduate school or move to another part of the world. It's difficult to achieve these amazing feats without taking any risks. Dealing with that fear of the unknown carries a significant risk because the stakes are so high. Fear is a powerful motivator for our worst choices, as well as a powerful thief of joy and hope. Fear always diverts our attention away from a target we're working toward in the future. Taking the chance to face our fears isn't about getting rid of fear. It's about having the strength to do what's right, even though we're afraid. 10. Pursuing your dreams and passions. How many people's dreams have been shattered before they even got started? Most people never get past the planning stage of their dream, which is a sad but true statement. Everybody should pursue their dreams, regardless of how impossible they seem to be. For instance, when you finally decide to start working on your dreams, simply ask yourself what else you'd be doing then. You really can't wait for things to happen, and because you won't have another life after you die, the best time to follow your dreams will always be right now. It's truly counterintuitive to give up what we've worked so hard for. It is extremely satisfying to see the dreams we have come to fruition. We find sense, purpose, and happiness when we find something far greater than our own little universe that we wholeheartedly support. In addition, here's a little ageless advice. Live for yourself if you want a small life, but if you want to live huge, live for others, and live for causes bigger than yourself that will matter long after you are gone. 9. Failure to succeed. The disadvantage of taking chances is that failure is often a possibility. They'd be classified as sure things if they weren't. Of course, failure is always the greatest deterrent to taking such chances, but that shouldn't deter you. According to what I've read, big corporations in Silicon Valley would often overlook their own employees for promotions in order to recruit people who previously founded companies that eventually went bankrupt. They seem to admire people who are willing to face bankruptcy and failure. That's a positive life lesson in general. 8. Your point of view and speaking up for what you believe in. Even if it costs you money, when you see a wrong and you're building up the courage to do what you believe is right, even though no one is looking, is a risk worth taking. If you're a parent, keep in mind that you're still being monitored and that you're teaching your children by example, even when you're taking risks to protect your honesty. A good example, and I know most of us may not agree, is an occasion when you could have lied to get your niece or even child into the movies at children's prices, despite the fact that they were over the age limit, but you didn't. It may seem like a minor detail, but it has a significant impact. This may not exactly endear you to people, but at the end of the day, standing up for what you believe is a risk worth taking. That said, it's important to add that everyone has their own perspective on what is happening in the world and how things work. It's risky to express your feelings because you never know how others will respond. You can find that certain people are hostile to your viewpoints. You may also discover that your viewpoint is incorrect. Many people are willing to sit on the fence and fail to advocate for their point of view. But you must not be afraid to express yourself, even if it's controversial or incorrect. People who are making the best of their lives have unique perspectives and perspectives on life. Being able to articulate certain points of view is an essential part of living life entirely. So, pick battles you're willing to fight. 7. Take a chance and make a mistake. If you want to succeed in life, you must make mistakes. That's how we learn. If you aren't making mistakes, you aren't working hard enough. To put it another way, you're not living long enough. Take the risks of making those mistakes, because they are what make our lives fun to learn about. 6. You run the risk of losing friendships. Friendships can be wonderful, but they can also be confining. Following our dreams typically necessitates a significant amount of solitude. Friendships make it impossible to devote the time necessary to complete the work that must be completed. True friends, in my view, should always support you in your goals. This goes hand in hand with the inevitable conversation of breaking a difficult truth to a loved one. Loved ones, whether we like it or not, can be dead weight. It's tough to hear and say, but it's true. The term speaking truth to power has become common in recent years. However, in our daily relationships, speaking the truth in love is more necessary. We must always tell our partners the truth, but in a gentle and respectful manner, so that they understand we're doing it because we love them and we want the best for them. They should realize that you will need to put some space between you and work together to keep the relationship alive, even though you don't see each other nearly as much. 5. Take the chance of not being good enough. There's always the possibility that you won't measure up. But isn't there something you'd like to hear as well? It's a simple fact that you're either good enough or not. When we believe we're good enough, we're always mistaken. This is crucial information because it tells you how much more effort you'll need to put in before you'll be successful. But if you don't take the risk of not being good enough, you'll never know if you are. 4. There's a chance you'll launch too soon. We always wait until we've perfected our product, whether it's a physical device, our service, or even our own selves, before releasing it to the public. The reality is that no one really creates the ideal product or service on the first try. In reality, the ideal outcome is determined by the input you get from others. After several iterations of testing, this feedback is received. You'll miss out on important learning if you wait too long to launch. So think about taking a different approach to see how you succeed. Consider the simple mantra, passion over compensation. The desire to provide for ourselves and our families, as well as to have more than we did as children, can lead us to choose career paths that prioritize income. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, but money is never a reliable source of hope. While following your passion can and will at times be difficult, it is also extremely rewarding and satisfying to realize that you're doing something you actually like and find satisfying. That's something we can all get behind. 3. Take a chance on being judged by putting yourself out there. We despise being judged, regardless of how much we judge others and how often we're judged ourselves. Everyone judges. It's in our nature as humans to do so. Put yourself out there and allow yourself to be judged. Since you aren't selling yourself to anyone, as most people won't be a big part of your life, the majority of their views are irrelevant. 2. take a chance, and admit you don't know. It's not anything to be ashamed of if you don't know anything. The difference between knowing and not knowing is razor thin. For example, I can know nothing about a subject 1 second, and then learn something new 2 minutes later after someone explains something to me. It's insane. It took just a few minutes, not seconds. Awareness is the simplest thing to acquire, but only if you ask questions and take the risk of revealing your ignorance. 1. Be willing to be vulnerable and open up. When it comes to relationships, it's crucial to open up and show your whole true self. I'm afraid it's a condition of passion. If you don't let yourself be vulnerable and open up, your partner will never see the real you, and as a result, will never be able to love you for who you are. To have it all, you have to put it all on the line. If you want to experience the highest level of love, you must take the risk of giving yourself completely to the person you love. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.